Okay, this is take number 2. The name of this video is Jesus Does the Works, Not You. So I'm going to take you to John chapter 14. Let's go down to verse 8. So Philip saith unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it is sufficient for us. Jesus said unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? And then he goes on to say, He that seen me hath seen the Father. And how thou sayest thou then, show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but of the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. And this is very important. You see, it's this Father in him, the Spirit, that does the works. And the same goes for you. It's the Spirit in you that does the works, not you. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. So when it does come to work, Jesus is the only human that did a perfect work on earth by not sinning once. Only God is able to not sin. Therefore, just by Jesus' works, you can see that he is God. So he's telling Philip, you can either believe me, take my word for it, that I am in the Father and the Father in me. But if you don't take my word for it, just believe me for the very work's sake. So just believe me for the works that I do. The life that I've lived, you can see that I am the Father. That's what Jesus is saying, because Jesus is the only one to live a perfect life and to have that standard of perfect works. So very verily, verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he shall do also. So I'm going to read it again. Verily, verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, so all the works that Jesus does, shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto the Father. So it's making it very clear that when a person believes on Jesus, there's an exchange. So not only do you get the righteousness of Christ, but you get all of Christ's works credited to you. Isn't that amazing? And greater works shall you do, because the Father's working in you. So it's all Jesus inside of you doing the works. It's nothing you do. It's not you repenting of sins or trying to live a holy life. Those are all your works, and those are not pleasing to God. It's the work that Jesus does in you that's pleasing to God, the work of the cross. Let's go to John chapter 6 verse 28, but let's go back to 27. Jesus says, do not work for food that perishes, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has placed the seal of approval. Then in verse 28, then they inquired, so the disciples asked, what must we do to perform the works of God? Jesus replied, the work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent. So look how Jesus approaches this. He says, don't work for food that perishes. So he's saying, don't think your works, like being good, repenting of sin, don't think that's going to save you. All that perishes. He's saying, don't work for that sort of food, but for the food that endures to eternal life. So then, saying that, the disciples say, so what must we do to work this work that gives us eternal life? That's the question they ask in response to what Jesus brought up here. Jesus is saying, don't work for food that perishes, but for food that endures to eternal life. So then they say, okay, so what is this work that we must do, the work of God that gives us eternal life? And Jesus replies and says, the work of God is this, to believe on the one he has sent. So look at their mindset. They feel they have to do something in order to get this eternal life. That's their mindset, like most Christians today. But Jesus is saying, no, the work of God is this, to believe on the one he has sent. So this whole belief, this process of belief that happened in you as a believer, is a work of God. It's not even done by you, it's done by Jesus. And look at verse 12 here in John chapter 14 verse 12. It says, verily, verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto the Father. Can you go and die on the cross? No. So what does it mean? The works that I do shall he do also. It means you get credited for those works through your belief on Jesus. All the works he did, the Father will see as you doing them because of your belief in Jesus. That all gets accredited to you through belief, through your faith. And even greater works than these shall you do, because I go unto the Father. Greater works will Jesus do in you because he goes to the Father. Not greater works shall you do on your own. Greater works shall he do in you because he goes to the Father. Not because you go to the Father, because Jesus goes to the Father. That's why greater works can you do. That's all Jesus at the end of the day. He does the finished work in you. It's not how well or how good you live your life. It's all spiritual. You see, if you think it's how well or good you learn your life or live your life, you're working for food that perishes. When Jesus says work for that which endures to eternal life, he's speaking about your belief on the cross, because that gives you eternal life. Anyway, hope this makes sense. Remember, it's Jesus that does all the work. So God bless.